Hi everyone, I'm Jack. Welcome to the official IslesDen YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a lot more Islanders postgame show and podcasting content for this upcoming season. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. You can also find my weekly podcast on Twitter at Isles House, co-hosted by myself at IslesDen, Ethan at EthanGSN, and Rocco at Pizza Sports Guy, all on Twitter. Thank you for joining me.
What is going on, guys? What a crazy game that we all just witnessed. A 5-4 Islanders shootout win on home ice against the Vegas Golden Knights. Tonight, we're going to be having Dom join us for the analytical rundown, get through his thoughts on the game as well. And we're going to be happy to answer your chats live. But let's kick it off. I know it's been a little bit. The Islanders have been on a little bit of a tear over the last couple weeks and finally happy to break down a singular game here. So they welcome in the Vegas Golden Knights, who they beat last time in pretty dramatic fashion. This game was televised on TNT, and it was pretty fun. Not used to the national broadcast showing so much love to the Islanders and all of our players, so that was a little bit different. And I thought that that was very enjoyable. I mean, before the game, you hear Paul Bissonnette talking about how the Islanders are like this fun, exciting team to watch, and that in this game they really put that on full display. Game starts, and Ilya Sorokin to me looked fantastic, but the Islanders just couldn't really get it going. Sometimes, like you see him make those first few saves, and the team starts going. I feel like they usually score first, but tonight they actually gave up one, and it was a pass off the pads. I hate to sound like Biz. He was saying that during the intermission report, but Vegas found a way to beat Sorokin, even though he was at the top of his game. This wasn't like a normal 5-4 game where you think to kind of blame the goalie at all. Like, he was pretty good. This was like one of the better 4-goal efforts I think I've seen from a goalie. Anyway, Vegas leads 2-0. It's getting late to the end of the first period. And with this Islanders team, they're able to work their way back into most of these games, no matter who they're playing. So you weren't really, you just knew there was a lot of game left. They've been struggling to score a little bit this time around, so you were maybe a little bit concerned, but there we were late in the first period. Matthew Schaefer enters the zone. They put a shot on goal, and Braden McNabb of the Knights just throws Schaefer into the glass. Anthony Duclair and Cal Ritchie were right there. I kind of laughed because you see Ritchie look up at the guy, and he knows he's going to get his ass kicked. So Anthony Duclair doesn't care, I guess, if he gets his ass kicked. He just went over to McNabb, just started throwing hands or doing whatever he could do to send a message. But they ended up skating 4-on-4. And even if you think the Islanders should have had a power play there was just a shift in momentum from that play. It kind of woke them up. And a couple minutes later, Barzell and Schaefer are just doing circles, skating circles all over the Knights zone. Eventually, Bo Horvat, they find him. Ryan Pollock does. And the Islanders make it 2-1 going to the second. And you could just feel right there the momentum of the game was definitely swung into the Islanders' favor. And to begin the second, I believe they actually drew a power play in which they did not score on, but they were still buzzing around. And Casey Cizikas, who's, let's face it, he's been on a little bit of a tear recently. He makes a great play, circling, cycling, doing what the fourth line is supposed to do. Sets up Mark Gatcomb for a shot that nobody's missing, but especially not him. All this guy does is score, it feels like. Every time he's up, both times he's been up, gets that stint. He just finds a way to hit the back of the net. So that was awesome to see. And it's 2-2. And the Islanders, it's a little bit back and forth, but Cal Ritchie finds Simon Holmstrom, who finally breaks a goal-scoring drought, which lasted over a month. He hadn't had a point with a goaltender in the goal in over a month, but he picked a pretty good time to break his drought. Gave the Islanders a 3-2 lead going to the third. You knew the Knights were going to push back. The way they did was a little bit surprising. Ivan Barbashev kind of beat Schaefer to a loose puck. They both dove for it, and it went over Sorokin. But, those goals I have a hard time with blaming the goalie, just because when you're going down and you're just whacking at it, that puck can go in a million different directions. So I thought Barbashev just made a great play there. Tip your cap. And it was 3-3 for a long time. Um, Eventually, the Islanders did draw a power play, and the power play, which had been struggling of late, they actually said on the TNT broadcast, they're like, that power play, man, it's ranked 29th in the league, but I just don't know if that should be the case because they had a great power play and nothing better than getting that power play goal to put your team ahead. And although this power play has struggled, they found ways later in games to somehow convert. So Horvat did there, and it was 4-3. And it was closing time, time to buckle up. And in a great season for Adam Pelech, he just made a rare mistake, flipped the puck over the glass, gave the Knights a 2-minute power play to end regulation, in which they needed a goal. They put Carter Hart back in net, and eventually they were able to find the equalizer when Pelech came out of the box, actually. And it was just this play where the Islanders just couldn't get the puck out. And eventually it was just a rebound shot that went right to Dorofiev. And the game's tied 4-4. And with 12 seconds left, the face-off, I don't know, probably a lot of people thought it was more ceremonial, but 12 seconds is just enough time where some shit can happen. And there we were with Kyle McLeod, Marcus Gatcombe, and Casey Cizikas taking that really important face-off. And I'm pretty sure the Knights had, I think they had Brett Howden out there. I think he's the one that ended up getting high sticked, but the puck goes behind the net. Casey gets tripped up, and you're probably not going to get a call at that point in the game unless it's something so egregious or so obvious that the refs like have to call by the letter of the law. And that's kind of what happened when McLean put his stick up. High sticking is the only penalty. That and major penalties are the only ones that can get reviewed. So the Islanders pretty much gifted Vegas 4 minutes of power play time to close regulation and then to start 3-on-3 overtime. And JG Pajot, luckily, was back in this game. He really has been such an underrated factor for this team the whole season. Even though he's missed some time, they found ways to win games, but the team is just way better with him out there. And he proved that during that penalty kill, winning pucks back, winning faceoffs, and the Islanders escaped. Overtime was a bit of a sweat here and there. There was one play where Horvat had it, and he was looking for that perfect feed to Schaefer. It was so close, but it went to a shootout, and I don't know what's been going on with this team psychiatrist or what Patrick Waugh said to Ilya Sorokin about those shootouts, but Sorokin clutched up when he had to. He made 4 consecutive saves. And the Islanders' first 3 shooters were Horvat, Holmstrom, Barzell. All pretty decent attempts. A lot of these times you just see them kind of shoot, and it just doesn't even look like it ever had a chance. Tonight it looked like they all did. And the 4th shooter for the Islanders shocked me. I was expecting Shabanov, with just those hands, the skill. But they threw up Emil Heineman, and the guy made no mistake. You just had a feeling that he was going up there. He was going to score on a night where, you check the scoreboard, you see Montreal gave up 6 goals, see Noah Dobson fumbling a pass at the blue line. And what a night to be an Islanders fan. You beat Vegas, sweep them for the season. And if I were to tell you, going into both of these games, there would be 2-minute power plays in overtime against Vegas for them, the fact that they won both of them is pretty unbelievable. Down 2-0 in this game, giving up the late tire, giving up a 4-on-3 power play. This team is just finding every possible way to win this season, and it's been really fun to watch. Definitely enjoy the wins, worry about the future later. And that's really the recap. Like, everybody was kind of flying around tonight, in my opinion. Just 2 good teams going at it, and both teams had their way at times, but luckily for us, the Islanders came out on top. And I'm going to bring in the Data Dom to discuss some of the analytics and his thoughts on the game. Dom, what did you think of that 5-4 Islanders win?
It was it got way hairier than it should have. I thought it should have been a regulation win, but this was a great game. This was a really, really fun game to watch. Pretty much as even as a game can get. The chances were pretty even. The shots were even. The power plays were pretty even. There were some wacky calls early in the game. The Bo Horvat tripping call in the first was weird.
Yeah.
I don't think he had anything to do with that. It looked like McNabb kind of just fell on his own. Some post whistle shenanigans in this game. They tried to give Schaefer the business all night, which a lot of teams have been trying to do, which makes sense. That's how you slow him down. But I thought this game was good. I thought we played well. We typically play Vegas pretty well, regardless of where we play them.
It's
But
weird.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe because Vegas is one of those counterattacking teams and not one of those heavy forechecking teams. And they're not that fast, apart from the Echo line, which is obvious. But I like this game. I thought we looked okay. Thought it should have been a regulation win, but hey, we won a shootout. We survived a couple of we survived the power play and OT, so I can't really complain too much.
That was like one of those games where if somebody's a casual fan, you want them to watch that one, not the game that we played in Florida or Tampa Bay. Like that's the type of game where anyone is going to enjoy it. It was that up and down. Yeah, tonight is definitely going to be some trouble with the lines because there were plays, there were a lot of great things going on with Schaefer and Pollock, and I know that they were also out there for the Barbashev goal.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Overall, I do agree. Like it just felt like a really even game. I would guess the ice was a little more tilted for the Islanders just because they were down 2-0 and they were chasing for a while and then it was tied. Like they were leading at certain points, but whoever was down was just doing anything that they can to find the tying goal.
Yeah, the third period I think was definitely more lean towards Vegas as they were trying to press at the end. A lot of that was done on the power play and when the empty net situation. But in the second period was really good for the Islanders. The first period was pretty evenly played. Vegas scored on a couple of those pass off pads plays where you obviously don't want Sorokin kicking those rebounds into the circle. You want him deflecting
Right
those
to
into
them.
the corner. Yeah, right to Hannafin on the first one, and I think the
Yeah.
second one was who scored the second one? I don't remember. I had it written down. Oh, that was Marner. Right to
Marner.
Marner.
Yeah, Marner.
But it looked like the same goal twice. But and just in general, I thought Sorokin was sharp when he needed to be. He gave up a couple of tough ones. I thought even the Barbashev goal could have been saved. It was a great effort by Barbashev, just muscled around Schaefer, which is going to happen sometimes. But just in
Yeah.
general, I think every line showed up to an extent. Even the lines that got outplayed statistically wound up scoring. So it's going to be one of those games where the sheet isn't necessarily going to match what your eyes might think. But it was a good game.
Yeah, there were definitely some lines that were more opportunistic, but man, you could just see with Vegas, Marner and Eichel, really Eichel though, it just everything he does on the ice is just at like the highest level. I thought Mark Stone didn't look right. What did you think?
He's slow, but he controls play. That's just kind of how he rolls. That's kind of what he always does. And then they get that Howden line out there. That's heavy, and you just got to look out. They take a lot of penalties. They draw a lot of penalties. They'll get into the scrums. Hurdle was very noticeable tonight, in my opinion. He's their ace faceoff guy. Every power play he wins. It seems like he wins the faceoff, and a couple of the goals they scored were faceoff plays, just clean wins off the faceoff. And I think one of them, Sezikis, lost so clean. And I don't remember the other one, but just in general, Vegas had a good effort tonight, and I just think the way the game fell, I'm not surprised we won. It's just the way we won was a little wacky, but
Yeah, well, I mean
that's just how these games have been this year. At least we're coming over 2 points.
it's crazy. Like with last year, that is a game they lose like just 100% of the time. They don't get the late. They maybe come back, but they don't get the late power play goal to make it 4-3. They don't
No.
escape. They don't escape both of those power.
They probably
plays.
still get the they probably still take a penalty and go to overtime, and they let up they lose the opening face off of overtime and lose immediately. But
Yeah, those face-offs really set the tone. I mean, you got to think Vegas is not happy letting that one slip away.
no, that's twice Pajot has been the thorn in their side in overtimes. Obviously, he
Yeah.
didn't score tonight, but did they get a dangerous chance in that 4-on-3? I didn't think so.
I didn't really yet. It was a really impressive kill. I thought the 6-on-5 was where Sorokin was really sharp.
Oh yeah,
That last one, there's just after a while, like that was the play to break out and to avoid the goal, and they missed it. And they just gave Vegas way too many chances to bury that one.
Yeah, it was
Um,
just a something's got to give moment. They got so many chances, and when Pollock doesn't get that puck up the wall after the clean face-off win, you're like, oh, we might be fucked here.
yeah, and Dorofeev he was all over the place the whole game. So he was definitely relieved to finally score one there. Um, yeah, overall, with the way Vegas deployed their players, I was a little bit surprised that Howden was with it was Howden with Marner and Dorofeev, I think, instead of Hurdle, right?
Don't know what their 5-on-5 lines actually are because I don't get to see too much of Vegas. I know that Marner doesn't play with Eichel. Eichel plays with Stone and Barbashev, or he
Ye-
did. I don't know
Yeah,
if he
no,
does anymore.
I mixed it. So Hurdles with Dorofeev, and it's Howden with Stone, and he's with Stone and
Stone and
Marner.
Marner.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just a little bit surprised at how much of Howden I saw tonight. Obviously a good player, but I mean, he got a lot of
Ranger.
minutes. Yeah, former Ranger. All those guys like just doing so well over the league
Yeah,
this year.
they're full of mercenaries, the Vegas team.
Yeah. Wonder if they're going to be calling the Islanders on Pajot as we get closer to the deadline. Because I mean, Pajot's put some nice work on tape for them.
That's true. I don't
Yeah,
see them calling on Lee, but that's neither here nor there.
but let's definitely get to the analytics of this one. I'm excited to guess some of these.
Sure. Okay. So, well, let's do what we normally do, and we'll go forward lines first, and we'll go by centers. So tonight the centers were the Horvat line. Pajot played with Barzell, so that's one line, and then Richie and Cizikas.
So the best line tonight, I'm gonna guess, was Horvat's.
Oh yeah, that'd be right. They were awesome in the first period. I wrote it down in my notes. I have 7 pages of notes tonight. I don't know. I was kind of in my
Yeah,
bag, but I think they had 4 or 5 shifts in the first period alone where it was just ozone pressure. Not very many good chances because Vegas defends the middle of the ice so well, and just every time I wrote it here. Horvat line, Schaefer pairing. They were stacking them out there in the first period.
yeah, I noticed that in the first two. That I was thinking like this is going to be the best line tonight. Just they were all over it. And
Yep.
that line hasn't been so hot, so it was extra noticeable tonight. So the second one, I'm gonna guess the fourth line is the second best line tonight.
It's a little mixed, so it's hard to tell. I have it shared if you want to pull it up on the screen and try to resist looking at it so everybody else can see because it's all of our forwards got mixed up during line changes and stuff. So I want to say, where's our top center? So Horvat's first, and then as we scroll down, where do we have our next centers? Yeah, so Cizikas is second. They pretty much played to a draw in their 5-on-5 minutes, but that's more so because they don't shoot. They care more about possessing the puck in the ozone and just laying the body, wearing you down, so we can get one of the top 2 lines over the boards to capitalize. But yeah, the Suzuki's line was good tonight, and they scored.
And so yeah, they were like there were just a lot of shifts too where they were actually forechecking, and that it's been refreshing to watch a fourth line do that and doing it against Vegas, doing it
Yep.
against Tampa. These are the real deal teams. Don't know if I love them getting deployed in like the most critical parts of the game. I would like for
Yeah, I thought
Watt
they might have played a little too much.
yeah, I'd like for Watt to have like a little bit more of like a specific personnel for that. Like put Horvat out there, put Pajot out there, put Holmstrom out there when you're defending Barzell. Like
Well, yeah,
I
because
just
right, it was right after the tying goal. They put them out there, and obviously McLean takes the penalty. I thought McLean should have been the one taking the faceoff. McLean is better in the dot than Cizikas is, but maybe that's a pride thing. Maybe that's a set play thing. I'm not sure.
yeah, it's I don't know what it is. It's been the way they operate with these players is pretty confusing.
Yeah, I was surprised how many faceoffs Barzell took tonight. I'm like, isn't that why we have Peugeot there?
Yeah,
Like, they're
it's
both. It's
really
not like one's a righty, one's a lefty. They're both righties, and Peugeot's the
y-
60% guy, and Barzell's a 40% guy.
yeah, that's why I thought it was going to be that's why I thought they were together
Right.
was so that Pajot can step in and take those draws. So Barzell's line tonight, Barzell, Lee, and
Peugeot.
Pajot, yes, that's why it's throwing me off. I think they were the worst 5-on-5 line tonight.
They were second worst.
Okay.
The Richie line was the worst line, and most of that is from the first period.
Yeah, and their goal, they did struggle. Now that I'm remembering a little bit, they did struggle at times. Holmstrom in particular, but he eventually found the back of the net in this game, which we'll sign up for any day of the week. Anything for him to get going again. It's been pretty
Right.
rough.
So the goal they scored was from 30-something feet away, and it was just an unscreened shot that beat the goalie. I think that probably should have been a save, and XG doesn't really love when you shoot from far away, so it's not going to consider that a high danger chance, even though it was one-on-one. But regardless, they scored, so who cares? Honestly,
Yeah.
The data in a single game sample is not going to know how dangerous that shot is. So it's not a huge.
It was a good it was definitely a good find by Cal Ritchie and a primary assist.
It was a great play. It was a great play all the way from our own goal line. I think Mayfield won a battle down low, got it to Duclair. Duclair got it up to Ritchie, and actually no, it was Mayfield below the goal line to Ritchie to Duclair, back to Ritchie, back to and then to Holmstrom with speed. Really nice play.
Yeah, and Ritchie, all of his points, they look good. He doesn't this guy all of his points are earned and
they're real. They're not passes that just go off somebody's ass and in.
Yeah, like his points, all of them, all 6 of them in 21 games, they've looked really good, and a lot of them have come of late. So he's going to continue to build on that.
If you want to switch it back to the the other screen.
Yeah.
So we're there. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, so that was awesome to see Holmstrom finding the net, and now we go to the defensive pairs because now we got those forward lines all sorted out.
Yep, and I'll tell you right now, the D pairs got mixed and matched a little because of the line changes, the amount of 4-on-4 that there was, and then the special teams in the third period especially. So it's hard to nail them down by pairs. So just say who you think played well and who you think probably gave up a little more.
That's a good way of doing it. So I knew it was going to be. It's always a little bit harder when you have a guy like Mitchell in the lineup because they shelter him and they don't play him a lot.
Yep.
So
only played 10 minutes. 10 minutes of 5-on-5.
So you have a lot of guys that are out there longer and they're going to be out there for more plays. And if you just miss a thing here or there, like you're going to be all mixed up.
Right.
I thought Pellick and Pollock were both really good tonight. They couldn't close. I would guess, I'm going to guess Schaefer was the best defenseman tonight.
Yeah, they have Schaefer 1. He played 20 minutes of just 5-on-5. And that doesn't even include the 4-on-4 and the power play time and the overtime. And especially because he had an assist 4-on-4, because that wasn't a 5-on-5 goal. The first Horvat one. So that's not even being accounted for, and he's the leader among our defensemen anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was all over the place tonight. I mean, the guy is he's so good. You don't even know what to say anymore because it's just so we just never seen anything like it.
It's just because he looks like a 10-year veteran out there.
Yeah. He can play in any situation. He is so dynamic with the puck, and it feels like he has had a major impact on every game this season. After him, I'm gonna guess Adam Pellick is number 2.
Pellick they have all the way down at 5th. That's probably because of the third period. I'm pretty sure he was on for the which goal was it? He was on for a couple of grade A's at the end. It might have been Tony D'Angelo problems, but I'm not sure. But I thought he played well. I thought he played well tonight.
Okay, so I'll take it. Mitchell was on the ice for a couple of dandies by Sorokin in the first period. I can't imagine he graded out so well. I'm going to guess he was the last place.
If he was 4th, he only played 10 minutes. Didn't have much. He was on for one for the Holmstrom goal, so he does benefit from that. But obviously he didn't play too much. So and he's sheltered. He's playing against bottom sixers.
Yeah, hopefully they solve that in the coming weeks.
Warren or George.
Yeah, Warren or George. So the 6th one, I'm gonna guess I'm gonna guess D'Angelo, but you know what? The reason I say D'Angelo is because I didn't really notice him so much offensively tonight,
Yeah.
and we all know that he's not his prowess is not on that other side of the ice. So I can't imagine he graded out
Yeah.
so well, but I don't think he played a particularly bad game. What do you think?
No, he didn't have the hilarious blunders, but there were some shifts where he got caught, and they had one really bad shift where that's probably why Pellick's down there too. They had one really bad shift where they got caught in the D zone for a bunch of chances. That was against the Howden Marner Stone
Yeah.
line, and I don't think that was when they scored because that was off a faceoff, but there was a cycle where they had a bunch of chances and Ilya bailed them out, but that's never going to grade well. So yeah, D'Angelo was last, but it's funny because his Corsi is 53% tonight. So he controlled most of the play, but the chances he was on for were dangerous.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we got the bottom three and the best one. So the ones that went at that graded in the middle were Mayfield, who I'm not surprised he was one of the better defensemen tonight.
Yeah, they have him second.
Yeah, he's just always steady back there, and like when you're playing Mayfield in the proper deployment, like that's when you're going to get the best of him. And I feel like lately he's been pretty strong, right?
Yeah, no, he had a couple of really nice zone denials tonight. I think Brock Nelson just scored. No, it's intermission. Sorry. No, he had a couple of really nice zone denials on plays coming down, like they could be rush chances. He steps up, makes a good read, or just throws a play off sides because he throws off the timing. I put that in the Discord chat, in the Alice House Discord chat tonight, that Mayfield and Mitchell were super steady in the minutes they played together. And then late in the game, Mayfield got a couple of shifts with Schaefer, and he got a shift with Pollock.
And
he was good.
Pollock's number 2 then.
Yeah, Pollock was good tonight too, I think.
Yeah, there was one play with him and Mark Stone where he just shut it right down. And
that was at the end of the second period, the one you're thinking of. Yeah, it was just a one-on-one play, and he just bodied him. And Stone's a big guy. He's not fast, but he's a big guy. And it's good to see Pollock use the physicality.
Yeah, just felt bad for him on that last game tying goal. It's just everything everything went wrong there. Everything.
Yeah. That is a great keep at the left point by Marner. That's and Marner's so good. Toronto fucked that up so bad.
They did, and they are feeling the effects. I mean,
yeah, they're just a genuinely bad hockey team. So
I don't know why. I just don't know why that anyone. I don't know why anyone thought that Toronto was going to just continue on and be like this top divisional team with losing a 100-point player. And the thing about Marner is he plays penalty kill. He's on the power play. He does a little bit of everything. He's like Barzell at the. I kind of look at him and Barzell as kind of similar.
Oh yeah, like I'd bet that he is, as far as all the Leafs over the last 5 years, he spends the most time with the puck on his stick.
Yeah,
obviously Matthews is a finisher and a good two-way player, but Marner's the guy who has the puck.
Yeah, Marner is like,
don't just replace that.
Is Barzell a good comp? Like if Barzell had a better scoring ability, I feel like Marner's good for over 20 goals, but Marner's also pretty good defensively. Like if they used Barzell on the PK, like if they really developed that side a little bit more, do you see them as kind of like Marner's just like a better
Barzell's
version?
good defensively when he wants to be, but I think Marner's a much better shooter. I'd say Barzell has better hands. Like
that's true.
Most of Barzell's goals are hands in tight, beating the goalie. Like that's why I think he's not a bad choice in the shootout, because he does beat the goalie in the shootout, but he misses the net.
So
just like he did tonight, he did at the other shootout we just played against the Kraken. But I think it's a fair comp.
The reason why I made it, honestly, is because I think about what Barzell's point totals would look like on Austin Matthews' right wing. Like, what do you think he would finish with? Seriously,
you got to think he's right around 100 points. If he's got Matthews potting, if you've got Matthews potting 60 goals, and somebody's carrying the puck in and somebody's setting him up, so it's more than a tier. It's an 80 to 100 point player probably every year.
Yeah, that was just something I was thinking about before. All right, we're gonna get to some live comments here, and then those will take us home. So let's see, Jeremy, for David, 4030. Holmstrom was listening to your podcast last night with Ethan and Rocco. Loved Richie's games. Great pass to Holmer. Welcome back, Pager. Bo, keep on shooting. Have a great show, Jack. Holmstrom might have been listening, so there's been a little bit of a theme with this. Early in the season, Sorokin hadn't had a game. had maybe had 1 or 2 games where he hadn't given up like 4 goals, and we were just like, all right, it might be over for Ilya. Like he might just never be as good as he should. He followed that up with literally being the best goalie. Like you look up now, he is the best goalie in the NHL. Hellebuck's hurt, but I don't know, all the fancy stats I think back that up, right?
I bet he even grades out positively tonight, even though he allowed 4 goals
Yeah, because there were just so many high danger chances. But
at the end, especially. Yeah,
back to Jeremy's point. Yeah, the thing is with Holmstrom is I do have time for him when he's struggling to actually score, and it's only because he's able to he gets up in opponents' faces, he lifts sticks, he does a lot of things that just make him a pain in the ass to play against. But being a total zero offensively for a full month can't happen, and it was about damn time for the guy.
yeah. Especially with the opportunity he was given during that time, he was playing second line minutes and third line minutes with skilled players. He's playing with guys that can put the puck in the net, and he's just out there just kind of gliding around. And yeah, he's a nuisance in the neutral zone, and he's going to break up passes. He stripped Eichel of the puck in the overtime tonight, which was cool.
Yeah, that was a big play.
He's noticeable when he does stuff like that, but there's so many games where like I think I even put in my notes, and I don't have an anti-Holmstrom agenda, but it's just I think I know the player better than some people do. And it's just
I agree.
When I'm watching, I think I wrote it in here. It's just Holmstrom dangles his own entry and turns it over. It's just like
he did do that.
So
tonight.
Close to doing the good thing.
Yeah, he's just I think this is who he is. I think he's a bottom 6 player that does a lot of good things and could find the back of the net once in a while on a shot like we saw tonight.
Yep.
He can break out for a shorthanded goal too. He can be a capable penalty killer. Like he does all of those things. He checks those boxes. With like he could be a top 6 player, put him up there. No,
I don't think so.
We've seen enough. Happy for him that he got on the board tonight. Hopefully we see more of that.
Conservative. He doesn't cheat for offense enough. I don't know. Because even the goal he scored tonight was not some great play he made. He just happened to be the guy flying the zone. Like that was all the breakout.
Yeah, it was.
He knows the breakout. He knows the system. But that was Richie and Duclair and Mayfield breaking the puck from our goal line into the other zone.
Yeah, it was pretty much just you got to go beat the goalie, and he finally did.
He did. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see him just have the confidence to buckle down. I'm glad nobody else was near him, and he just had to rip it because man, the other night in Tampa there was a 2-on-1 he had. I don't remember who was coming in on the left, but he tried making a pass, and when he literally before he even releases the puck, the guy was selling out for the pass, the defenseman, and it's just like you could tell that he was just a little bit lost, and the confidence, the instincts are just not there. He ended up turning it over again on that possession, leading to an Islanders penalty kill. So
he probably looked up and he's like, "That's not Pajot," and just didn't know what to do. And he's like, "Oh, we're not shorthanded."
He plays so much better with JG, but yeah, fine. Just good to see him.
I think that's a matter of time. They'll be reunited.
They need to be. Goodness gracious, literally a 5004. Why are the Isles addicted to taking stupid penalties when up 1 goal with 2 minutes to go? They're just holding on for dear life, man. I was more the Pellick play. It's annoying, but he's been so good this season where I was like, all right, guys, just have his back and kill this penalty.
I don't think that's a stupid penalty, though. The McLean one's a stupid penalty.
The McLean one was genuinely.
Pellick fucked up, and you're going to fuck up. It's not like he cross-checked somebody in the face after the whistle when they were pushing for the goal. It was just a single unforced error, and I honestly thought Stone might have gotten a piece of that. But the fact that they didn't even look at it, because so you saw Stone chop at his stick as he's trying to put that puck out, but they didn't even look at it, so he must not have.
Yeah, I agree. They like shit happens in this sport. You go down 2-0, couple passes off pads, bounce perfectly to nice players. Like the thing that's good about this team is they have the ability to actually bounce back and figure out how to come out on top of these games. James Walsh, PG1PN, to come away with 2 points when Vegas was on the power play and overtime was huge. Yeah, and they really didn't even get a great look And Pajot was excellent during that kill. I just don't know what was the penalty kill so good, Dom, or what the hell was Vegas doing?
I don't know. Usually in a 4-on-3, if you ever have the puck in the offensive zone, you have infinite time to set it up. The play they want is the pass down low to Stone, then back out to the bumper, and then just a soft one touch to Dorofeev on the right circle because Dorofeev can shoot. And they got it once, and I think he missed the net or he might have flubbed it, and they never got it again. And that was they just kept looking to that play, and they just kind of held down the small triangle. It was good. I thought it was good.
Yeah, they held it down, and it just if I was a Vegas fan, I would have been very frustrated during that.
Yeah.
Sing us a song. You're the Heineman. Sing us a song tonight. Yeah, unbelievable, Heineman. How shocked were you when you saw him get up there?
I agree with you. I thought it was going to be Shabanov. I thought it was going to be Shabanov or Duclair. And then when Heineman came out, I'm like, I've seen Heineman's hands. I don't know if I like this. And he said, "Fuck my hands. I'm just going to just shoot this shit as hard as I can and hope I beat him clean." And he did. So we'll take it.
I wouldn't have put Heineman up there, personally speaking, but when I saw him get up there with the game on the line, I just kind of had a feeling that he was going to somehow do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a wicked shot there. Just like a great way for the game to end, and just kind of like symbolic for this entire season, having him get up there, score the shootout winner. Sports and spaghetti. Pajot,
Terrific.
Pajot, yeah, what a name.
What a great name. Two of my favorite things.
Yeah. Pajot proving why he's so important tonight. Guy did it all defensively tonight. Yeah, he's been doing it all season long. And to start the year, I just thought there was an extra level he was bringing every single night, and he was getting rewarded for it. He had that overtime winner in Vegas. And when he went out, it was definitely like without Richie coming in as a reinforcement, that would have been 10 times bigger of a loss in past seasons. But he comes back while the team kept their head above water without him, and he was just so good tonight. Those little plays he makes in overtime, he's done it before, whether he's scoring or breaking up plays. There was one play that I kind of laughed at in overtime at the end of the penalty kill when McLean comes out of the box. Did you see him kind of float that pass? And did you see his face when the icing happened?
I want to say that icing was on purpose and just wanted to get to 3v3, but I was cursing at my TV when McLean didn't get a piece of that.
Yeah,
like, dude, are we really gonna ice it? We're gonna be stuck with 3 tired PK guys and Kyle McLean on the ice in overtime. I forgot that they let you come off even on an icing. But
yeah,
his face, that was great.
That I didn't know the rule. I was wondering if McLean was going to
because it's icing. I feel like he would have to stay out, and I'm sure Vegas would be like, "Oh yeah, keep the 3 tired guys and fucking Kyle McLean out."
I just want to rewatch that one part of the game, because when McLean didn't get a stick on that and they zoomed in on Pajot heading to the circle, he looked pissed. And he's usually one of those players that is like such a good spirit all the time, but he was just like, "Man, I'm gonna fucking kill you."
They were out there the whole kill.
Yeah,
Pollock and Pajot.
Yeah, what a job.
I got a player comp for Pajot. Give me an Evan Rodriguez comp. He could play center, he can play wing, he could play up the lineup, he could play down the lineup. He's pretty much good at everything. He's got some bite, and Evan Rodriguez is an important player on a Stanley Cup team. So
he is. I guess the only difference is he's the lefty version.
Yeah, he's a left shot.
Goodness gracious. I don't know why there's a bias against Shabanov in the shootout. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man.
Have we seen it yet?
No, they haven't thrown him out there, and it's who I would honestly expect. They have him on power play 1. They have him on the first line.
Yeah.
Patrick Watt is just weird with these decisions.
He's a loose cannon, man.
Yeah.
But we know who he likes and we know who he doesn't like. And it's very obvious who he doesn't like. But Shabanov, I would think his skill set is conducive to the shootout. Maybe they just don't do him in the K, so he doesn't know. He doesn't really practice it. But I assume they do it in practice all the time. At the end of Islanders practices, I think they practice the shootout. But Shabanov, I thought was he was pretty quiet most of the night tonight, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Which means they weren't giving up much and they weren't doing much. And then he was fantastic on the last power play,
Yeah.
the one that
Yeah.
put us up.
He was good. He's the one he actually started. I think he ended up getting a secondary.
He got a secondary, yeah. He's one of those guys I like on the power play because he's so willing to try crazy shit.
That's what you need to do. And him and
Like because
Barzell together.
Barzell is like if it's not there, he'll just curl back and go back up to Schaefer, and they just keep it on that one side of the ice. Shabanov will try to force that seam pass, and usually it's not going to get through because that's the number one thing to defend on the PK in the modern NHL. But today it did. It didn't. It wasn't even on the tape, but just getting the puck from across the ice, it causes chaos.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the deserve to win meter right now, and it was tilted towards Vegas, but
oh yeah, I'm sure.
We have no more comments, but just one thing I wanted to touch on. So today, Maxim Siplikov was scratched from the lineup. Dom and I are both two of the. I would say at this point we're in the minority of believing in this kid. Like he's not a kid. He's actually 20. How old is he? 27?
I think he's 26. I think he's got 26. One more year in this UFA. He might be UFA after this year. You might be right. I think he's 26 or 27.
Yeah, so Dom and I like his game. A lot of people don't. And I just wanted to touch on it really quick because to me, the Barzell, Pajot, and Lee line out there, I just don't know if I fully understand. I don't know if I fully understand Waugh's decision making in terms of how he went about it. Like, I think the best thing right now, and I know Holmstrom scored tonight, but for the last month, he's been doing the things that he does well would actually translate really well if you put him on a fourth line. And before tonight, after he scored, before he scored, that's where I would have probably put him. I probably would have taken out McLean, but for whatever reason, they take Gatcomb out before McLean. And maybe you have an explanation for that. I don't really understand it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those two, it's more so a lateral move, but they'll take Gatcomb out before him because McLean can play center. That's probably why. And McLean can win faceoffs. So, and McLean is the one that made the team over Gatcomb. So it's clear he's higher in the pecking order, at least in Waugh's opinion. But yeah, I don't know. I'm up in the air on Holmstrom. He has his moments, and it was nice to see him score tonight. But I feel like when you're playing Barzell with Lee and Pajot, it kind of gives that line no real identity because Pajot he's going to work his ass off, but he doesn't have the hands. He doesn't have the vision. He's an honest player that fits the system. He'll play both ends of the ice and he'll battle, but he doesn't open up that line to be a scoring line.
Yeah, I'm fully with you on that. So I think the games where Siplikov was playing with Barzell and Anders Lee, they were looking pretty good, in my opinion. And I think the analytics track that as well.
Yeah, the numbers back it up. They were a scoring chance machine. Even in the games where, like, by the numbers, we got our asses handed to us by Tampa the first time, and then by Florida on, what was that, Sunday? Yeah, it was a back-to-back. But, yeah, Florida on Sunday and Tampa, I think, last Tuesday before the Colorado game. We got our asses kicked in that game, and that line was still in the positives, and it scored against Florida.
I think the thing is for me when I'm looking at this team, I feel like they figured out their defensive pairs, and they work. And you look at Horvat's line with Heineman. I think when Drouin returns and is healthy, he works there. Shabanov worked there tonight. He hadn't really worked there the first couple of games, so we'll see. There's more to build off of there, but you have a Holmstrom Pajot connection that works. There's a lot of things in this lineup that work, and I feel like he has a chance to perfectly complement it. But when you take Siplikov out and start putting Pajot on Barzell's wing, I just don't know if I understand it. And that's where my frustration kind of stems from. But we'll see what happens with this team and Siplikov moving forward, because I just don't know.
I'm very curious as to what happens when Drouin gets back.
Yeah, because, how long can this go on for where you're scratching a guy that had close to 40 points last year? I mean, you just have to think that there's a market out there for him Maybe they'll even there's been games where I'm just thinking Siplikov's one turnover away from the waiver wire, so that will be
Right.
an interesting thing to follow.
Do you remember the trade that the Flames made with the Flyers last year with
Frost and Farabee.
yeah, Frost and Farabee? That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like he's a useful player that's fallen out of favor with the coach and just is going to get a chance with somebody else and be a useful player. Because I think Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost are both useful players, and Calgary wasn't fond of Jacob Peltier, so they sent him back the other way. It feels like one of those is coming.
Is Peltier? Where is Peltier this season?
I think is he not still with Philly?
I'm gonna look that up really quick. He might still be there, but if he is,
I knew I liked the trade better for the Flames because it was that Kuzmenko coming back the other way, and then the Flyers flipped Kuzmenko to the Kings later in the same season. I think it was.
Yeah. Kuzmenko did go to Philly for a second. That's right.
Yeah, in that trade, and then Philly flipped him to the Kings, and that worked out well for the Kings.
Yeah. The thing is that I do respect about Philly is the way their team is set up. They need a number one center, and they have a ton of help on the wing.
Oh yeah, they have like 4 third lines.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And like the connecting line's like a second line. They have a second line and 3 third lines.
Yeah, and it's weird because they're, when you look at this division, I was saying it last night, like there's the Flyers I actually think are better than the Penguins, than the Blue Jackets, but they're just like 1 or 2 dynamic players away from finally taking the next step.
Their ceiling's lower, but their floor is higher. I think they're much better coached. Rick Tocchet usually will raise the floor of a team just because he is a good coach. I like what Dan Muse is doing in Pittsburgh. He's just letting them try shit and letting Crosby know, like, hey, this is your guys' last hurrah. If you play well enough, we're gonna go for it. But if you don't, pieces are gonna start going out the door.
Yeah, and it's kind of working. I mean, they are. It feels like they get a point in every game they play.
I just saw the replay on TNT of how they lost tonight, and with 0.1 second left, Carlson puts it in his own net because he's trying to bury it in Archer Seelov's pads, and he goes with his glove and accidentally puts it through Seelov's 5-hole and scores with his glove. So it's considered an own goal, credited to Seneca.
I just want to say, like, before we hopped on, I noticed that when that goal went in, go watch it if you're listening to this, because it's one of the most like rare moments where you hear the home team, the Penguins goal horn goes off as the Ducks are celebrating their tying goal. It's one of the more absurd sequences you'll see.
So the arena ops were expecting to be celebrating a win, but luckily the camera crew caught the Ducks celebrating on the ice. So it's just a weird visual where you hear their goal horn, the Penguins goal horn, but you see the Ducks celebrating.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Absurd. Those Anaheim Ducks actually come to UBS on Thursday. Will you be there, Dom?
I will. I'll be there. I'm going with my sister-in-law, and she's a huge Rangers fan. So I selected her to come to this game with me because of the Rangers contingency playing for the Ducks. That's a good Petrano, Strome, Kreider, and Trouba.
You know what I just realized? That's going to be the first game this season that I'm blacked out from.
Oh yeah, you don't get to. All right, so you have to commit crime.
Man, I'm gonna have to watch. I'm gonna be.
Give you my Gotham login.
Will that work out here? I have the Gotham login, but will that work? I don't know if it will.
No idea. I'll just illegally stream the game, to be honest.
That's what I think I got to do. But thank you guys for commenting, Dom. Obviously, thank you for coming on. And yeah, we'll see if we can get something fired up for Thursday. But great Islanders 5-4 win, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, sir.